Our next issue is going to be one of education. So, if you remember, the difference between a territory and a state is with a territory, the US government is control over education, like the curriculum, basically. Like, they're not going to micromanage as much. Like, they're not getting on a plane. They weren't even invented, but they were able to say, like, we want you doing this. And states are allowed to decide their own education. That's something that's kind of decreasing, but that was kind of a national government establishment is that states get to choose. And the Mormon community wanted private schools. They were advocating for let's have a state be based on private schools. So some things to know about private schools are they can choose their own curriculum because it's not a matter of church and state, which is basically our saying like that combination of church and government that we're trying to break up. They're saying, well, if it's not public, then it's not tied to the government. Then we can choose whatever we want, meaning that you could have religious classes. You could have classes about um, like baptism or other religious topics. Also, if it's private, you can choose who you want to be a part of your school. We still have some private schools and some charter schools, and charter schools will like choose who they accept into the school. And they were saying this is just how we want to run the country. You just create your own school and you accept who you want. And that means that you could have a Mormon only school because if we go back to that unity and it kind of looks like discrimination, they're seeing others are seeing it as like discrimination. The Mormons aren't letting us in, and the Mormons are seeing it as we're protecting ourselves. Um, And then a thing about private schools is that it's paid for by the people who attend. So if you're a all Mormon community, you're the ones who are paying to go, and that's why you get to choose who's in it. Now, what the government had been doing and what other people wanted was public schools, and we have public schools today. So these are funded by the government, which really means they're funded by taxpayers because that's how the government gets its money is taxes. And that means the government is able to say how it wants the stuff to run. So right now, I'm a state employee. I work for the government because I'm a public education teacher. Teachers right now in Utah who are working at private schools or charter schools don't work for the government, but I do. But public schools have to accept everybody because they are paid for by taxpayer dollars. So this was kind of a conflict going on. And it brings up this same theme of like, is this the Mormons trying to show that they're in control of Utah? And do we really want to let it be a state if that's the case? Because part of the thing about when they're a territory is that they have to listen to the national government. And so a lot of these also are going to be the national government saying, do we want to give up that control if we think that as soon as we give it up, it's going to go the way we don't want it to? So if as soon as we say, yeah, you can be a state, they're going off and making all these private Mormon schools and like educating everybody to be Mormon, and we don't want that, then why would we say, yeah, you can have this power? We're just going to keep the control while we can. So this should say education up here, not economics.